Welcome to If I'd Only Known, where seasoned online business experts share valuable tips to improve your mindset, increase your revenue, and gain insight on what they would have done if they'd only known what they know now when they started their businesses. And now, your host, Sherri Coffelt.
Welcome to today's episode. I am so excited to have Inga Faison-Cavitt here today. And you are in for a treat because she is going to share with you her brilliance. She's an authenticity strategist. She left her engineering career to follow her entrepreneurial spirit. We all love that. And is now pursuing her dream life full of faith, family, freedom, flexibility, and fitness. She enjoys empowering women to live their best life and helps women become top earners by building authentic relationships that treat people like humans and not numbers. Welcome, Ingafay.
Thank you for having me, Sherri. I'm super excited to be here with you today.
Oh, I am so glad to have you here. You know, I love this topic of authenticity, and I think we've lost a lot of that, and I'm not quite sure that the pandemic didn't make it worse, to be honest. So tell me a little bit about that. I know you talk about mastering the art of authenticity and how that can help your business flourish. So
Right.
tell me a little bit about what your journey is around this authenticity and why you believe that.
Okay, so I grew up, really built my business in the direct sales world. And when I did that, a lot of the people that were mentoring me or people that were really around me in my leadership were extroverts. So at that time, I felt like for me to be successful, I had to mimic what was around me, which was really not truly me because I am naturally an introvert. As you already mentioned, I'm an engineer. So I'm not, at that time, I was not a people person at all. I was one of those folks that, if I saw someone in a room, I really wouldn't go up to them because I really wouldn't know how to talk to them at all. In addition to that, if I met someone and I thought that they were cool, I would kind of have to feel them out before I would reveal the real Inga, I will say. So that was how I started building my business, basically faking it until I made it as a successful direct seller. But oftentimes when I did that, I never felt good to me. I used so much energy trying to be something that I wasn't, to the point that I just didn't want to do it anymore.
Yeah.
So during the pandemic, I don't know, it allowed me to really use my innate gifts because I'm naturally a tech geek. And I can get in front of a camera and talk to people and act silly and do those kind of things. And if you didn't know me, you probably would think, look, she's not an introvert. She's an extrovert. Not. Because after I do all of that, I have to go in my happy place and recharge by myself.
Yeah.
So I wanted to let those other folks that are like me, that are my fellow introvert. And oftentimes when I said introvert, I noticed this as well. People really didn't want to own up to being an introvert because they saw it as something as bad. So that was another thing that really kind of hurt my heart too, because as an introvert, there's nothing bad about us. Matter of fact, I think when you think about an introvert, we have the qualities of a salesperson, because when it comes down to sales, people want to buy, they don't want to be sold to. Mm-hmm. So it's very important to listen to our clients and prospects to really get a feel for what they want. And what I often felt like I was doing, because I was doing all this extrovertedness that really wasn't me, I really truly was not listening to people and finding out what they truly needed. I was having more of a transactional type of interaction or relationship with them, to the point that if they would just automatically assume that if I was calling them or if I was texting them, it was because of the product that I was selling. It wasn't just to say, hey girl, how you doing? What's going on with you? The last time I talked to you, you told me XYZ was going on in your life. Is it better now? How's it going now? What's new with you? That kind of thing.
Right.
So because of that, I really wanted to really transform my business to have more of those relationships, because I realized that at the end of the day, that entrepreneurship is a team sport. And if I continue to have these transactional type of relationships with people, I'm not really getting to know them for the person that they are. Because at the end of the day, people are buying me first, Inga, who happens to sell XYZ product. So I wanted to share with my fellow introverts, one, that it was cool to be an introvert. It's a great thing to have when you're in sales, because you're listening. And most of the time, people don't like salespeople because they feel like we don't listen. And then secondly, we can use the things that are innately given to us and not have to use all this energy to be something that we weren't. So I wanted to give them a happy place. Yes. That they felt like, yeah, I can still be me and still be a top earner and be successful in, my direct sales business, my coaching business. If I'm doing some kind of and I'm a consultant, a business consultant of some sort, I can do that and still be me.
That is so true. I'm an introvert as well. And people say, there's no way you're an introvert. And so then I started saying, well, I'm a learned extrovert. It's like, no, that's not it. It's what you said earlier. It's I can be big and as vibrant and as out there, if you will, as I need to be. And then I need to come back and I need to have quiet time and recharge. And so people don't get that distinction, know a lot about introverts versus extroverts. So that was great. So I love what you talked about with authenticity, and in the industry, the kind of personal development industry, we talk a lot about imposter syndrome. And I think that's kind of the authenticity, reverse is people feel like that they're an imposter in whatever their field they're in. And so they feel that, inauthenticity, it feels inauthentic to them. And that's when they start feeling that imposter syndrome. So yeah, I just thought that was interesting that there's that kind of juxtaposition with being authentic and how that impacts the imposter syndrome as well.
Right.
So tell me about, I know you work with your clients to help them learn that art of authenticity. So what's one of the biggest keys that you see that we need to be aware of in order to be in that authentic place?
Right. So what I think you really need to be true to yourself. Figure out what really resonates with you. I know as an introvert, and with the introverts that I work with, I know that they're outgoing with people that they know. I know they love to talk about their product or service. It's just the cold outreach that they really struggle with. That's where they struggle, because an introvert's not going to just walk up to somebody and just start talking. They're just not going to do it. So I wanted to be able to bless them with a way for them to be who they truly are, but still be able to expand and grow their business. Because we all know that if you're out of leads, you're out of business when it comes to building a business, regardless of what your business is. So I wanted to give them what I call the perfect icebreaker for an introvert.
Ah, cool. Love it. Share it with us.
So the perfect icebreaker from my vantage point is a survey, because a survey allows an introvert to feel real. It allows them to feel authentic, and it helps them truly build genuine connections that will convert to sales. It initially just basically pre-qualifies the people that we should talk to. And then when we start talking to them, we know a little bit about what they are wanting help with. And then we're able to be passionate about that product or service that we are representing, whether it be our something that we personally created or something, we're an affiliate for someone else, but we know that they are our person because they filled out this survey. And that was one of the things that I wanted to bless all of my introvert girlfriends with when it came to building their business. Because they don't have to go out and do what I used to do and, I would have to literally go, okay, Inga, get your mind right.
Yeah, no, I hear you. I've been there as well. Yep.
You're getting ready to walk into this networking meeting. No, I wouldn't even say networking meeting, because that's a setting that that people are there to network.
Right.
I would call it you just doing everyday life, and you see somebody that you want to go up and talk to find out if they're your person, but you're trying to get your mind right as far as what you're going to say to her, how you're going to say it. If she's not interested, how will you gracefully walk away? I mean, all of that
right.
stuff that
You're
we go
making a
through.
lot of stuff up.
Yeah. All of the stuff you're going through, trying to figure out, how am I going to talk to this person, where you could have just asked her if she could fill out a survey, and based on her answers would know if she was your person. So
right.
that is one of the things. That is one of the things in my toolbox that I have really enjoyed being able to do,
awesome.
and then helping others do it too, while cutting that learning curve. Right.
That's great. And I know we'll talk more about how you can help people do that. So what do you think is key to being able to build authentic relationships? I mean, I think I heard you just talk about the surveys, and that's a way to kind of the icebreaker, if you will.
Breaker, right.
Yeah. What comes after that?
What I think really comes after that is I think it's like dating. I really see it as that you're literally dating your leads, or you're dating your prospects. Now, for those of you that have a significant other and maybe in a serious relationship,
right.
You know that when you met that person, if they came up to you and said, I want to marry you, or, I want to spend the rest of my life with you, you would look at them like they were crazy insane, because you're just like, dude or girlfriend, you don't even know me. I mean, how are you going to come at me like that? You don't even know me at all. So when it comes to building those authentic relationships, is you spend time with that person.
Right.
These days we do one-on-ones, and some of them may be a 15-minute call, and some may even go an hour. And I've had those times when I'm talking to somebody and I feel like it's my long lost friend that I just met today, but after connecting with them, it's just like, I like her, or I like him. He is just so cool. And as a result of that, I want to spend more time with them. Very similar to what we do when we're dating. Right. We are spending time with the person. We're getting to know them. And every time, the more time we spend, the more we get to know about the person. And how is that going to help us in the future? Well, it's then going to allow us to be able to refer them out, because we are learning more about what they do, who they serve, and how they serve them. So that time building of that relationship growing and developing, we can truly be a collaboration partner with them,
right?
Or we can be a referral source for them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that's how you really build those true relationships.
Yeah. I always think about, I love the word curious. And I always just think, how can I be curious about this person? And, asking questions. And that's where the introverts listening skills come in, right?
Oh yeah, for sure.
And just be curious and just ask questions about people. And that takes the pressure off you too, right? Because you're asking them to share about themselves, and people like to talk about themselves.
Oh yeah, they do.
So yeah, that's very cool. So when you've built, when you've reached them in the right way through a survey or whatever that environment is, it's going to help them to kind of open the relationship. And then you've built that relationship with questions and getting to know them. Then, there comes a point for all of us, where most of us here listening are business owners, that we want to turn that relationship into a further collaboration, or eventually a client. So what are the things that you find are most effective to kind of move people towards that conversion, if you will, to a partnership or a client?
Well, what I've found is I have a YouTube channel, and what I was told when I first started my business was that was a means to get the word out about what I do, who I serve, and how I serve them. And when I interact with people and find out more about what they do, I'm often finding ways that we can collaborate, and often ways that I find it's really easy, similar to what we've done, Sherri, is to swap, swap on each other's channels. If we have a similar niche, but provide a different service, that is an awesome way to swap, because you're sharing your clients with her, she's sharing her clients with you, and you guys are building this together. Because I think I've already said this, and I'll say it again, entrepreneurship is a team sport. So it helps you further expand your reach, as well as, just giving you more time to interact with that partner. That's another date that you and that person are able to do. And then you can also, after the collaboration is over, because you're doing these swaps, I'm pretty sure that person can refer you. Well, girl, I just met up with so-and-so and so-and-so. I think you guys would be a great match. I know we had great chemistry. I think you would really connect with her. Or you give them a couple of referrals as well. So it's not just kind of a one and done with the collaboration, but then you're further expanding the reach. So now this person is a referral source for you.
So it's kind of the give to get philosophy.
Yes, for sure. For sure.
Yeah. And that at the end of the day, that's what it's all about is, life is about relationships. And in business, it's no different. It's about building the relationship and having the connections and really getting to know people and being willing also to walk away, if you will, from people that aren't a good fit for you. And I think that's hard for a lot of us is, well, I don't want to give up on them, or I don't want them to not like me, or whatever it might be. But knowing who is your right fit, who can you best serve, and the best serve is when you have this happening where you're really, really connecting with each other. That's
for
awesome.
Sure. It's funny that you say that, because I had a girlfriend of mine that we've been interacting over the last, I would say right before COVID is when we started connecting. And I felt like how the saying goes, if you feel like you're the smartest person in the room, you need to find another room.
Yep.
Well, I felt like I was that person. And I did not want to totally just cut off the relationship, because I thought we really made some great connections. I really love her as a friend, but as a business person that was trying to level up her business, I felt like I needed to kind of change my room, is what I'll say.
Right.
But I didn't want to completely cut it off. So what I end up doing is I told her, I said, hey, why don't, instead of us meeting every week, because that's what we were meeting, why don't we do it once a month? So the connection is still there.
Right. Yep.
I'm still honoring the connection that we have built over this time frame, but then it frees me up to be able to go into other rooms where I'm not the dominant one. I'm the one that is, learning from the other folks, and they're lifting me up even higher.
Yeah.
So,
and just like with friends, there are seasons for friends. There are seasons
for
in
sure.
business too.
Exactly.
And as we grow and evolve in our business, then the rooms that we need to be in change.
Exactly.
So yeah, I think that's so true. I love that. Was there anything else about authenticity that you feel is like a core tenet, if you will, of success?
Well, I guess it makes me think about what I call my A game, is what I call it. And when I call it my A game, it's something that I teach the folks in my tribe that they should use when it comes to building their business. And we kind of touched on a lot of what I'm about to say, but I'm just going to reiterate it just a little bit more. One thing, the first part of my A game is what I call you ask and not assume. Just like we were just talking about, you want to make sure that you're asking those questions and not assuming that your product or your service is for this person. It made me think about a time in my life. My father bought me a vehicle when I was in high school, a senior in high school. I love this vehicle. It was a Mustang. Okay. Absolutely loved the vehicle. And I drove that vehicle probably for about 20 years, 20, almost 25 years. And I used to have people that came up to me and said, girl, you still driving that car? And I was just thinking, yeah, it's running. And I love it. This is like my child. I even named it. My car's name was Rudy. Okay.
I love it.
So Rudy and I have been around. I mean, Rudy had gone, he was in high school with me. Rudy was with me in college, grad school. I mean, you think about all the little transitions in my life. I love that car. And I had somebody ask me, well, why don't you get a new car? I mean, you're driving around this car. It's almost 25 years old. And why would you keep driving that car? And I was just thinking, but you don't understand. This car has been with me through the thick and thins. I mean, different phases of my life, from high school to college to grad school to working to getting married to having a child. I mean, my son was in that car. Okay. So I was like, all of these things, I don't want to get a new car because of all the things that this car means to me. And I remember I was in a car accident. Somebody hit me in this car and it was totaled. Okay.
Oh, no.
I was devastated. I felt like I had lost my best friend, literally.
Mhm.
And at that point was when I actually decided, because I had no choice at that point to get a new car. But people assumed that I needed a car because I had an older car. But I didn't need a new car in my eyes because of the symbolicness of the car and what it meant to me emotionally. I didn't want a new car. So that's why I think people see something from the outside. And I know many of us have been bombarded with DMs and from virtual assistants and appointment setters and coaches that think they're going to, take us to the promised land. We're going to make us 20K a month and all this other stuff they come up with. But they don't know.
Seconds, right?
Yeah, exactly. In 59 seconds. Exactly. But they don't know that's what we need because they have never asked us what we need.
Yeah.
They just assume based on, oh, you're a coach. Oh, you're a consultant. Then they need what I have. No, you have to ask and not assume.
Oh, that's that's so true.
Yes. So the next one, next A game thing I want to tell you about is you want to assist versus annoy. Now, oftentimes, and you had made this comment about how do you transition someone to a client? You've interacted with them, you're building the relationship, you may have even had some collaboration type of events together. How do you then transition them to a client? I think the person transitions into a client when they're ready to transition to a client. So, and with that said, we want to allow them in what I call marinate, similar to what we do to our meat, to give it that good seasoning and flavor. We want them to say that they want what we have more so than try to convince them that what we have is what they want. So I think it's very important to allow people to have that marination time and that when they're ready, that they will come to us because in the meantime, in between time, we're building that know, like, and trust factor because we all know that that's who people do business with, people that they know, like, and trust. So you got to give them their space to marinate, to get that good flavor so that when they're ready to cook, you are the cook they're ready to hire to help them along the way.
Yeah.
And then last, but definitely not least, we want to attract people to us and not attack.
Yeah.
So that is why it's very important that we continue to nurture our clients, our prospects, so that they can come to us and people come to us because they realize we have what they want, more so than, throwing spaghetti on the wall and saying that it's all a numbers game and that we're just going to talk to anybody that's breathing because we think everybody is our customer, which all of us, I'm hoping all of us know that everybody is not your customer. And if you're trying to serve everyone, you're truly serving no one, which is I know people say that, and I can tell that when I hear people say that they're a new entrepreneur, because they're just like, well, I don't want to leave anybody out.
Right.
But when you do that, when you're interacting and building these relationships with different people, how are they going to introduce you to your perfect person if they don't know who they are? And you tell them, oh, I serve everyone.
Right.
Well, I don't know who that is. When I meet Susie Q and you tell me it's everyone, Susie Q does not resonate that that's your person. But if you tell me that you're serving female entrepreneurs with introverted tendencies, and I meet somebody that's introverted, I'm going to say, you need to go talk to Inga.
Yeah.
That's because I've already told you that's who I serve.
I call that leaning in. Yeah.
Yeah.
When people lean in, they can know who you serve.
Exactly. And I think that's very important for us to do. Don't do the spaghetti thing. I can tell you, been there, done that, doesn't work.
Absolutely. It doesn't work for you or the people you serve. Because for you, it just makes you overwhelmed and fried. And for them, they're never going to actually probably hire you because they don't understand what you do to serve them.
Exactly.
So, absolutely. Very cool. Well, you have shared a wealth of information here. I know we're going to kind of come full circle. I know at the beginning you talked about the power of surveys. And I think you have something to share with the audience that will help them figure that out.
Yes. So I have the Survey survey system. And what it is, I have given you a guide on how to start your own survey. So you can not have to attack people. You can really attract them to you and find the people that want what you have. So in the survey guide, it's a free download. You would just go to my website, ingafay.com, and you would just put your name and your email in, and you'll get the survey guide instantaneously. So you will then be able to create that survey and find your people.
That's awesome.
And I also, and then I also wanted to say, I love the survey also when it comes from a marketing point of view, because it allows you to hear what people are saying. So yes, when somebody's saying that they want, well, I'll just use an example. They have wrinkles and they're concerned about their face texture or that kind of thing. When you have that information, you can then use what they tell you in landing pages that will allow them to get to know you even better. So you can provide more value to them through a guide or a checklist or whatever you're selling, but you'll be able to write it in their words and they'll be thinking, oh my gosh, is she in my head?
Exactly.
So that's, so it really allows you to truly connect with your people.
Very cool. Well, go to ingafay.com. Make sure that you get that survey guide, because surveys are an amazing way to connect with your audience. People love taking surveys. So you get great opt-in rates, which is always good. And then you have more people to be authentic with and to nurture into collaboration partners and referral partners and ultimately clients. Exactly. So thank you so much for that. So before I let you go, I do have one last question for you.
Okay.
If you had known everything that you know today, what would you, when you started your business, what would you tell your new entrepreneur self?
I would tell my new entrepreneur self to trust the process. That's first and foremost, that it's not going to happen overnight, and that you want to use strategies that use your innate gifts and not pretend like you're somebody that you're not. And my slogan is do you boo. And I say that all the time to my clients, that you want to do things that really truly resonate with the authentic you, because that's what people are going to love. Nobody can do you better than you. So when you're yourself, people are going to love you for being yourself, and they can feel and hear your you being phony if you choose to do that. So I'm asking you not to. I want you to be who you truly are, because nobody can do you better.
Yeah, and there's only one you, period.
That's right. Exactly.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for that insight. I love that. Make sure you go to ingafay.com and get the survey guide and catch future interviews and find out more insights from entrepreneurs on what they wish they had known when they started their business. Check back with us here. Thank you so much, Ingafay. Have a great day.
All right. Thank you for having me. Bye for now.